Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we were supposed to work on the Skyline. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. A few months back, my truck, which is my daily driver, the spring broke on that. And I replaced the struts with some cheap ones just because, well, I was being cheap. And that has come back to bite me in the butt because it's only been like 3 months and those struts are already blown. In a few days, I'm actually going to be going up to Tacoma, Washington, which is about 3.5 to 4 hours away from me, because I will be picking up the Skyline, and I need to get the truck fixed because I will be trailering the car back. So instead of working on the Skyline, I will be working on my truck so I can pick up the other Skyline. Anyways, instead, I thought that I could just give you guys a quick little garage update on all the cars. And we'll start off by talking about the white MR2, since this is the car that's here. The white MR2 is actually the car that I've been driving around the most recently. Pretty much the only two things going on there is the oil pan has a slight seep, and then the front wheels still hit a little bit at full lock. I actually haven't hammered out the wheel well, so I hammered down the pinch welds. Everyone else who's done like the super aggressive setup that I have, they actually hammer out the wheel wells. I just haven't done that. I can't really bring myself to do it, but I probably will do it. Besides that, the car is really great. I still hopefully will take it to another autocross event or two, maybe even a hill climb. We'll see. I was thinking about doing a track day, but like, I'm just really hesitant because, you know, last time I took it to a track day, it overheated. After doing a bunch of, you know, diagnosing, it didn't seem like there was a head gasket leak, but I'm like, that just makes no sense that I could overheat a car that bad and not blow the head gasket. Anyways, I just don't want to be in a situation where like I'm driving the car, the engine blows, and then I have an engine fire because of that. If you're in the MR2 community, you've recently seen the Apex Attack MR2 that caught fire. That was actually at PIR, so that track's like literally an hour away from me. Point is, that's stuff that I don't really want to mess around with. As I just mentioned, I have concerns about the head gasket, and I do want to swap the car. Essentially, I'm just waiting for, well, two big reasons that feed into each other. The first reason is, well, just garage space. If you've watched the channel for any length of time, I typically do a lot of my work in a different place. I'm hesitant to get into really big projects there, mainly because it's not my space, and I just don't want to cause any issues for my family member who actually lets me use their space. In the past, I've had situations where a neighbor actually approached me to fix their car, and I said, no, I'm not an auto mechanic. My brother and I just work on our cars as a hobby. They didn't take too kindly to me not wanting to fix their vehicle, so they ended up reporting me for running an auto repair shop. That situation was easily taken care of because it's literally just my brother and I working on the cars that we own there and nothing else. The big thing is it's a family member's home, and I don't want to cause any like extra stress. So if a situation like that arises again, I would much rather just move everything instead of cause a stressful situation. If it was my personal house, I would fight tooth and nail, because if it's my own home, I should be able to do what I want and fix my cars there. I did actually think about doing the swap here. I cannot do that because, well, this is just a townhouse that I rent. But anyways, I mentioned that because it's a rental, I actually asked property management and they say no automotive work. So like, I know I can get away with like minor things. Let's just say I'm changing the oil in my garage and the door's closed. I'll be left alone. But there's no way that I could get away with a freaking engine swap, especially when the property manager lives, you know, less than a block away. The plan right now is later this year, early 2023, I'll be buying a house. Once I get myself situated, that's when I want to start diving into this and putting a new engine. I'm fairly certain with this car that I will end up doing a 2GR swap. I'm either going to get a new turbo trans, or I can get a junkyard transmission, like one of the front wheel drive ones, and then convert it for this application. The second thing that kind of puts this on hold is the fact that I was putting money aside for it, and the money that was supposed to go towards this engine swap, that's what I actually used to buy the Skyline. The Skyline's not going to be a car that I keep forever. It was really like an impulse purchase, and essentially my thought process on it was, worst case scenario, I purchase this vehicle, I get to have fun with it for a few months, and then I sell it for what I bought it for. Best case scenario with the Skyline is that I get to have it for a few months, and then I can sell it for more than what I bought it for. That's pretty much all that's going on with this car for the moment. So we're going to head over to the garage and we'll talk about the V6 MR2. And we are over at the garage. Oh shoot, Jesus actually just arrived at like the same time that I did. He's right there in the Miata, which you guys actually haven't seen in a little while because it's been broken. We'll talk about that here in a sec. MR2 real quick, there's not much going on with this car. Pretty much the two big things with it are it needs axles and clutch. Clutch, I'll probably just go eBay again. It held up for several years, so like why not just do that? The clutch is slipping under hard shifting. So yeah, I need to replace that. I knew about this like a year ago, I just never did. And then the axles are going bad. They're clicking really bad. Yeah, I need to source those. But other than that, not much else going on with the V6 MR2, and there won't be until the white MR2 is done. But anyways, Jesus is here. Man, we haven't seen this car in a while.
No, that's because it's finally up and running. I had the biggest trouble trying to find computer core hoses for no good reason.
Yes, I actually remember that you went to AutoZone, was it? Or I don't know, you went to one of the local auto parts stores and they gave you the wrong one.
So it was specifically this one that was really hard to find, to the point where I just had to get hose lines and then just cut it
to size.
Yeah, because what ended up happening is one day I had to go to the bank, and then literally right as I was around the corner from my house, I just see steam starting to come. I'm like, that's not good. And so then I was right around the corner, I'm like, I'll just drive it there real quick. I popped the hood, look. I believe it was this hose right here had blown, so you could just see coolant coming out. And when I let it all sit, there was still coolant in the radiator, so shouldn't have a blown head gasket.
Well, I'm actually sure you would have known by now, because you've been driving the car around for a couple weeks at this point, right?
Yeah, about once a week when the weather's nice enough.
Other thing I wanted to touch on with the Miata was you're going to sell it, because I think some people may have seen the for sale ad.
Yeah, so my plan was to sell it because insurance for this, the Skyline, and the Subaru was going to be about $6,000 a year. And so my plan was sell that, use that to cover insurance. Daniel's like, hey, hit up Haggerty. And so I did, and so now, instead of being $6,000 a year, it's closer to $3,500 once I make one more switch over on another insurance company.
There's the other fact that because the car is just a seasonal car, you really weren't driving it, so it's kind of sitting there, but the weather's getting nicer, except for today.
Over 2 years I've had it now, I was looking at how much mileage I've actually put on it, and it's only about like 3,000 miles a year.
That's not a lot.
Exactly. I mean, there's stuff I'd still like to do to this car. As of recently, I'm like, man, there's some things I could do, but also I don't have that kind of money.
No, we're middle class people, so we do this as it goes.
The only thing that might be done to it in the short term is I was looking at replacing all the bushings.
Oh yeah, we should do that actually.
But that's really about it parts wise for this, because everything else is good to go.
The WRX at this point is just a daily, like that's it. We aren't doing any rallycross events because you can really mess up your car doing rallycross. I know we already touched on this, but quickly on the Skyline, short term, it's pretty much just timing belt right now.
Yeah, short term is timing belt. What I'd like to get after that is coilovers that work. I was looking at BC. Dan said, hey, why not look at Fortune 500? Only a little bit more. And he said that you can get them like fixed stateside relatively easy from my understanding.
So one of the reasons why I like Fortune Autos is you can actually send them in and they can rebuild them and revalve them to whatever you want, which is freaking awesome. The coilovers on this car are shot. They're just super bouncy. Besides that, the Skyline's doing pretty good. So I got a question for you, Jesus. If I end up selling you my Skyline that I have coming at cost, this car has a welded diff. This car was someone's drift car in Japan. Can we drift it? Would you consider that if you had another Skyline for the street?
Yeah, I'd consider that.
Because that'd be really cool. You know, Park is only an hour away.
That is true.
Although I don't think they're having events right now. They're having issues with neighbors. Go figure.
That would be really sweet to drift this. You'd have like all the JDM points because you're drifting your Skyline.
I'd have all the points and none of the skill.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, neither of us do, because like neither of us have done drifting. It's a different thing compared to like autocross. But this car's already set up for it. It was 100% someone's drift car back in Japan. Already has a welded diff. It's like, it's perfect. Yeah, there's not really much else besides that. So it was just a quick update on the cars. White MR2 is kind of sidelined. I'm picking up my R33 in the next week or two. V6 MR2 needs a clutch and axles. This needs a lot of love, but we're gonna get it there.
And then your Miata's good.
I just realized if I have the R33, I literally won't be able to afford insurance. How many cars can I reasonably own at once? My personal opinion has always been 3. I think 3 is a reasonable amount.
Oh, get rid of the WRX.
That would
I mean, because you can make money on that.
Especially for the price you're into it, you'd easily double your money.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
anyways, we will see what ends up happening. Yeah, we don't got much else for this video. Thank you guys for watching. And again, stick around because next week it's either Skyline content or Skyline content. We'll see what happens.